This is how I replace a blown out tire. I've never seen one blow out this bad on a bike. And the can't see it, the inner tube, I'll show you later. The inner tube is just shredded too, so I'm gonna replace the tire and the inner tube. I have flipped the bike upside down. Makes it easier to remove the back tire or the front tire, but working on the back one. So first thing, I'll move the kickstand up and out of the way. This bike has coaster brakes on it, meaning when you pedal backwards, it sets the brake. So first thing I have to do is remove this bolt right here. I put a wrench on the nut, and this happens to be a Phillips screwdriver head. And I put that sheet down because I'm working on grass, which is a nice soft surface. But if I drop one of these small things, I'm not going to be able to find it very easy in the grass. So the old bed sheet that I use is a paint drop cloth. If I do drop anything, be fairly easy to find. So I'm just going to slide this bracket up the frame really carefully, not to scratch in the paint, and then that's free. Now I'm going to put this bolt over on the work table. Next is to loosen up this nut, and there's a nut on the other side of the axle. And I've got, this one happens to be a 15 millimeter metric. I'm going to loosen that up this side and on the other side. I want to loosen it up enough so there's a gap between this nut and the bike frame. I'll do that to both of them. And then this bike has a fender, so, and the chain. I'm going to grab the chain with a rag, just because they're usually all full of grease. And so this is going to slide forward a little bit. I'm going to pull the chain down and off, and then just lift the tire and rim right up and out, and I'll just leave the chain right there. If the tire and the inner tube weren't blown out, I would want to push down on the valve and get all the air out of the, or as much air as I can out of the inner tube. There's a pin in there. You can push that down with, like, a Phillips screwdriver will work. You just push that valve down and you'll hear air coming out. And then too, the bead is all broken. The bead is right along the rim, the surface between the rim and the tire. That's the bead, and sometimes those will get kind of stuck to it, so you would want to squeeze the tire and break that bead. This is already all broken all the way around to get that loosened up. And then if you need to, and this one I don't even think I need, I have two, they're tire levers, and actually I'll show you. I want to put one in anywhere except where the valve is. You do not want to put it where the valve is, so anywhere else. So I'm going to go right over here. I'm going to put one, this is shaped like that. I want the tire in here, so I'm going to turn that and put it inside the rim and inside the tire, and then pry that out like that, and then take the other one and put this low part up, slide it along, then I can pry that tire, and now I can just slide it. And every tire is going to be different. This one, because it's blown out, to come off pretty easy. So there's one side of the tires off, and it's going to come off pretty easy. Flip this over, and boom. Rim and tire and the inner tube are two different things. I wanted to show you. Oh, there we go. Right where that blew out, there's the inner tube. Can't patch that. Well, maybe you could, but I don't think you'd want to. But yeah, that tire, I've never seen one come apart like that. I put some air in it and filled it up to the recommended pressure and wheeled it over to the shed for storage, and boom, she blew out. So got a new tire and a new inner tube, so I'm going to take that off. There's some dirt and stuff on this rim. I'm just going to take the time to clean it up. This is I wet this microfiber towel. I'm just going to wipe along, just gently, not pushing hard. Just wipe along the wet part and take the dry part and just wipe it. It cleans up really nice. Looks a lot better. And on the bike, inside the fender, there's dirt and on the inside of the frame, and when the tire's on, I can't get to that very easy, so I'm going to clean all this up now. So I'll do that, and then we'll get back to the tire. When you have a flat, I'm pretty sure I know what caused. I got the rim all cleaned up, and I did the spokes too. It looks much better. But when you have a flat, you want to try and figure out what caused the flat. One thing I like to do, let's see, where's the valve stem hole? Right there. I'm going to start at the valve stem hole, and I want to look at this piece of rubber that covers up the spoke ends. I want to rotate the tire all the way around and check everywhere there, and make sure there's no sharp objects like a spoke poking through. If this rubber is in bad shape, I would replace it. I want to just check everything all the way around, and I want to check on the rim too. If there's anything sharp that could pop that tire. And I'm pretty sure what caused this failure was just old age, and it just deteriorated, and she let loose. But that looks good. Back to the valve stem hole, and if I had an inner tube, I'd want to inflate that up till it kind of got its shape, and maybe even overinflate it just a little bit, and then I would rotate that around and listen for any leaks. You can also put that into water, and if there's a leak, there'll be bubbles coming up, air bubbles in the water. So then you can mark the leak and you can patch it. And but you want to find what's causing the leak. If it's anything on the rim, or the tube, or the tire. Sometimes there could be something poking through the tire, a thorn, a nail, a piece of glass, piece of metal could be poking through. You want to inspect that tire too. I'm replacing it with a new one, so I'm not even going to look at the old one. That old one is shot. So next is putting the tire and inner tube back onto this rim. I've got the new tire and the new inner tube, and I'm going to put in just enough air in the inner tube so it forms a nice circle, and then I'm going to insert it inside the tire. Got the tire blown up and insert it, and I'm going to put the valve stem right where it says how much air is supposed to be in the tire. This is 22 psi max, so then it's easy to find. I know it's right by the valve stem, so I'm just going to insert this inside the tire. There we go. And I want to look and make sure and see if there's a rotation arrow on this tire. I don't see one. Usually it'll just be an arrow pointing in a certain direction, and I don't see anything on this tire, so it doesn't matter which way it rotates. So I want to start with the valve stem. We'll insert that through the hole in the rim. Start putting the tire onto the rim. Oh. I want to put one bead onto the rim at a time. So I'm working on this top piece. I need to make sure that the inner tube is up and inside that rim. Push that inner tube inside the rim. There we go. There's one bead on. Now I'm going to start up the valve stem. And I want to make sure that valve stem is straight up and down. If it's that way or any way other than straight up and down, I need to adjust that so that it's that way. Because if it's crooked and I put air in it, the rim could slice the valve stem right off, and then you have to repeat the whole process. So we'll make sure that's straight. So now I'll start putting this other bead on. And I'll work this around and put the other bead on the rim. What I ended up doing is letting out just like 3 seconds worth of air, because the inner tube was pushing the tire up and making it hard to put it on the rim. So I've got the tire all the way in the rim. What I want to do is check this bead all the way around and make sure that it's pretty close, same distance all the way around here. That looks good. Flip it over, check this side. And that looks good. So now I'm going to put some air in it and inflate it just a little bit. I've put a little bit of air in it just to check the bead all the way around, and it looks really good. This side distance is equal from this line all the way. The other side, same thing, looks good. Oh, if the bead was pushed up, I would deflate the tire a little bit and push that down, and then put more air back into it and make sure that stays there. And sometimes the bead can go down into the rim too far, and sometimes I can overinflate the tire, and the inner tube will push that bead up to where it's supposed to be. And sometimes I'll even have to take some soapy water and spray it in there just so it's slippery enough to get in where it's supposed to be. I don't want to use oil or grease or anything like that, just soapy water. And this is all set. I'm going to pump it up to 22 psi, which is the max. Maybe I'll go right to 20. And then put this back on the bike. And I got the rim and tire back on the bike, and everything looks good. And looks great. I'll take it for a test spin. Be sure and check out my other videos. Please subscribe, like, share, leave a comment below. Have a great day.